through the window. He's 18 years old. Okay. "Come hither, my child," she half whispered. "You must come closer if you are to vanquish the forces of evil." I moved into the moonlight. "You are the youth of Sham, who has special powers, the only child of your father, a farmer, and myself. You were orphaned at the age of 10 when we were attacked and slain by goblins in the third ravine of the mountains of Tauros. Your uncle took you in, and you worked in his small trading post. As a child, in anger you could cause small objects to burst into flame or explode. And now I have come to you." I marveled. She knew facts which even I did not know. "You have not ventured forth until now, except to practice archery and swordplay in the forest shadows, where you dreamed of revenge against the marauding goblins. But your task is much larger, worlds larger." My eyes widened. I had never traveled beyond sight of my village. What was now expected of me? "Your tears are but a drop in the great ocean. The realm of Botanique is racked by Lord Dragos. The final extinction of good is at hand, except, perhaps, for you." I staggered. "Sit down, my child. I will help all I can." "You enter an enchanted realm which long ago knew the beauty and knowledge of the Zilfins. Their reign was marked by prosperity and fairness. Many tales are told of the power of the two rings of Zilfin, the mysterious disappearance of the Zilfins, and the plague of Lord Dragos, who has left Botanique a land without hope. The scroll of Dragos, nailed to a tree and cross throughout the land, proclaimed his purpose when he came to us those 20 long years ago. You, the people of Botanique, have lost the sacred emotions," the scroll read. "I, a fiend of darkness, will bring back the greed and hate and pain that makes a proper world. To achieve this exalted task, I declare myself overlord of all I survey. All is noble darkness." Thunderbolts flashed from the eyes of Dragos, and sore travail beset Botanique. Here was a necromancer of fiendish strength and intent. Her eyes pierced me. "Ahead of you lie dangerous creatures that crawl and leap and fly, yet there are friends too. Halflings, dwarves, and elves, and mayhaps Zilfins. This is a world of combat and planning. Some journeys in these three kingdoms entail more danger and expense of energy than others. Where a strong sword fails, magic may avail, or the eating of a special plant. Yet the minions of Dragos know spells also. Go now, my child, and hurry. This night marks the beginning of your manhood and your quest." With this, she faded back into the midst from whence she came. Okay, now this looks like a small introduction here, some tips to get us started. The first stroke. Salvation will not come quickly for Botanique. Many hours, nay days, will be required for you to remove the stain of Lord Dragos and redeem the realm of Botanique. Attend to detail. Keep notes on what is said. Be watchful of clues. At first, survival will be your aim. Some parts of this realm are more dangerous than others. To begin, try to stay within a safe zone and build reserves. Watch closely your possessions, your food, your endurance. Sometimes to turn back is the best course. With practice in combat, you will increase your strength, magic, and wealth. Fat profits can be made in Deloria. Buy cheap, sell dear. Observe when you must recross a region of great danger. The 8 plants you can eat may ensure your health. Despair is the fruit of darkness. Keep faith, and you shall prevail. Let this blessing be with you. May the candle of Zilfin, light of lights, shine on thee, turning evil aside, beacon burning bright, till all the land is free. Okay, I kind of want to do this a little bit. So it looks like this character, I guess my character, has received a visit from his mother, and he says, "You are the youth of Sham." I assume that's the name of a city, or country, a village, something like that, who has special powers. Okay, so he has special powers. He can make fire appear, make things burst into flames. Looks like his father and herself were slain by the goblins. So your uncle took you in and trained you in a trading post. Okay. It says that I'm trained in archery, swordplay, and obviously the magic that I have, some kind of flame magic. Says there's a great evil upon the land, which we read earlier, and she tells kind of what happened in summary. There's halflings, dwarves, elves. Okay, that's interesting. Now, the one thing that always bothered me about some of the old school games, they always seem to throw in a lot of sci-fi into their fantasy, and that kind of bothered me. Ultima, Wizardry, they always kind of threw in weird sci-fi stuff, and I'm a fantasy guy. I love fantasy. So if I have a world that's strictly fantasy, I'm happy. I don't like the idea of mixing worlds together. And Zilfins, we don't know what those are, but they don't sound like they are sci-fi based. Okay, she says, "Go now, my child, and hurry. This night marks the beginning of your manhood and your quest." Okay, the problem here is that she doesn't give me a quest. She doesn't give me a mission. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? She just says, "Go now and hurry." Okay, why do I need to hurry? What's the hurry, and why do I need to do this quest? Okay, and below she gives us some tips. Keep notes on what is said. Be watchful of clues. Okay, so like I was saying in my a little while ago, was these old games required players to actually take physical notes of what was going on, and if you didn't, you were going to be lost in these kind of games. So you had to keep notes outside. Survival will be your aim at first. Okay, stay in a safe zone. Okay, sounds a little bit like grinding. Build up your reserves, watch your possessions, practice in combat. Okay, we can gain experience, obviously. We can gain strength, magic, and wealth. Okay, now this part here is interesting. Fat profits can be made in Deloria. Buy cheap, sell dear. Okay, now when she says that, it reminds me of an old game called Uncharted Waters for the old Super Nintendo. Now that's a game where the whole game revolved around trade, going to port, selling your wares, and finding the best deals to make money. Now if this game works anything like that, that would be pretty awesome. I love that concept of trade and buying low and selling high. Okay, she says there's 8 different plants can help us ensure our health. Despair is a fruit of darkness. Okay, and she gives us a little poem. All right, sounds good. I think we're ready to start here. All right, here we are. Rings of Zilfin. Game designed Ali and Adabek. Like I was saying earlier, this developer introduced some very interesting concepts in PC RPG world, or I should say the computer RPG world, as this game was released on several different platforms. Now this version of the game I'm going to be running is the Apple II edition. This was the original edition of Rings of Zilfin, and it was later ported to DOS and I believe Commodore 64, and I don't know if it was on the Amiga or not, but this edition is by far the best edition of the game. It's got full 256 graphics, a lot of animations, a lot more, I guess, bells and whistles than the DOS edition, and the full experience of the game is really brought through this version. Unfortunately, with this old edition, we've got to use these discs for the Apple II. I'm using an emulator to run this, so we'll go ahead and reload those the second disc in. Okay, here we go. New game or restart. Now with these old games, you typically ran them by pressing keys. So we will go with a new game. In Legends, hero name is Reese. Would you like to change it? Reese. I kind of like that name, actually. I like the way it's spelled, too. I think we'll keep it, actually. I normally would change my name, but I think I like that. So, no, we don't want to change it. Enter level of difficulty 0 through 9. 0 hardest, 9 easiest. Okay. This is a tough one. I've heard people tell me that this game is fairly easy. So I don't think I want to go completely easiest. I want to have a little bit of a challenge here, but I don't want to be the hardest either. So let's go somewhere in between. Let's do about 5, I guess. That gives us about middle range. Okay, would you like to change name or level? Nope, I think we're good. Okay. Ha! Looks like we're in a village. Looks like it's evening or nighttime. There's several mountains around in the background. Nighttime in the village of Sham. Oh, Sham. Okay, that's the place where we, where the story of the main character lives. Reese, I guess. All seems quiet and peaceful. The lights are slowly going out. Reese wakes up from a restless slumber with a cold sweat. He dreamt about the goblins again. Okay, goblins. Well, no doubt his parents were killed by goblins, so it makes sense for him to dream about them, I suppose. He goes to the window for some air. A shadow moves among the trees as he starts to feel an evil presence. A voice whispers in his mind, urging him to run for his life. He does not hesitate for long. Okay. Quickly gathering his short sword, an ash bow, and 30 arrows, 20 coins, gem, and food for 10 meals. Okay, now this is something I'm going to have to keep track of. These kind of things, if they're limited, food for 10 meals, if they're limited, then I'm going to have to be careful about how I use them. And I have a gem, too. Okay, I guess I can probably sell that or something. He runs to the front door. After quickly scanning the shadows, he decides to run south and disappears from sight. Okay, so he feels an evil presence, and we're out of here. Ooh, suddenly Zomon appears. Now we learned Zomon was Dragos's head honcho. His head commander, I guess. He realizes that he just missed Reese, whom his master ordered to be killed. So begins your quest for the rings of Zilfin. Sweet. Alright. Big map. Okay, so first thing that comes to mind of that story, the beginning of this game, is the Lord of the Rings. Frodo escaping the Shire from the Black Riders. Now back then, it wasn't so bad to kind of copy Lord of the Rings, and a lot of old games have, blatant issues of copying Lord of the Rings, and I don't mind that so much, as long as it was done when Lord of the Rings wasn't, as big as it is today. We've had the movies and all that, and there's a lot to be said for the fact that it's hard to make any kind of fantasy story without it kind of seeming like the Lord of the Rings. The tropes in Lord of the Rings are so commonly used that it's just impossible to get around. Okay, so according to where the marker is, it looks like we're southern part of the continent. We have roads to the south, it looks like. That's the only direction we can go. And over on the right is the directional arrows we can travel. Now, you can use the mouse to use this, but it's really a little bit clumsy. Or we can type in the direction that we want to travel. So we're going to head south. Let me... Alright, so SO, south, are you sure? Yes.